Welcome, everyone, to Divine Relationship Recovery. I'm Deb Goldberg, and it's a great pleasure to be here with you today. And my special guest is Marcia Martin. So, welcome, Marcia.
Well, I'm so delighted to be here. Thanks so much, Deb. And I'm really excited about what we're going to talk about today.
Me too. Me too. Marcia and I watch. Marcia's also part of Angel Heart Radio, and I watch what she does and her posts, and they always resonate with me. And her talks about God. And I said, oh, I have to have her on the show and have a discussion with her. You're gonna love her. And let me tell you a little bit about Marcia. She's called the Heart Healer, and she's a spiritual life coach, a channel, a best-selling author, and podcast host on Angel Heart Radio, who specializes in helping you heal from pain, trauma, abuse, limiting beliefs, and negative thinking so you can become victorious in all areas of your life. Calling upon her extensive education and her intuitive gifts, as well as angelic assistance, she'll bring you a breakthrough and gentle transformation. Using her proprietary method, the Angel Heart Healing Technique, she guides you in accessing the memories that are holding you prisoner. By eliminating the unconscious programming that's running in the background and sabotaging your life, you become victorious and experience true freedom and unending joy. What it's so beautiful what you do.
It has personally changed my life. So it is so fun to be able to offer the same thing to other people.
Mhm.
As there were so many years locked in the darkness of self pity and believing that it wasn't ever going to be able to get better than this. Bad choices pile up one on top of the other, or believing that you are something that you're not,
Mhm.
just locks you into this place of believing, well, I am a victim and always will be. And so I just have to learn how to be a good victim. And that was my life for so long. I was just going to learn how to be a nice, kind victim.
Aw.
and, and whoa, it's so nice not to be in that place anymore, not to be trapped in this prison that I created for myself.
So true. Thank you for sharing that with us. And um, I could say I'm right along with you and have done the same thing in my life, not realizing that I've done it. And
Oh, no.
so is a lot of our listeners. So I think it's really important, you know, that um, we're conveying our own experience so that other people can move out of that space of victimization if you're still in it or getting sucked back in and out of it, because it's kind of the journey, isn't it, that we get sucked back in and out.
Oh my gosh, yes. And that's the most important thing. And I'm so glad you said that. What we need to understand is as long as are in that space where you are trying to pretend that this painful thing didn't happen, or you've given yourself the order, just move on, forget all about it. What you are forgetting is the heart is this beautiful protective mechanism. It is supposed to guide you and lead you and help you experience truth. But at the same time, if you have clouded the heart's judgment with all of this pain and trauma, and instead of clearing it, you've just gotten stern with yourself and said, you just need to buck up and move on, then you're being led by the pain body. And so you're going to be led into more painful situations because it's just activating the law of attraction to bring you more of what you are saying you desire. because you're sending out this vibration of pain and agony and victim. And law of attraction says, oh, look at that. She's so focused on pain, trauma, victimhood. Let's just arrange to make sure that she has more of this painful stuff to experience, since that is what she is choosing as her vibration. So it is so important to move beyond the pain but you have to clear it. You can't just pretend, oh, it didn't happen. Get honest, get in there, get into the heart, recognize this hurt. This really hurt. And now I have to do something about it. I have to change the way I'm looking at it, feeling about it, talking about it. I got to reconcile the fact that this did hurt. And I've got to find something that feels good to focus upon, or it's all coming right back.
And it's so true. We have to heal it. We have to process it. And, what I've learned is that I thought I processed things. I thought I had healed certain parts of my life. And then I had to go back in and do it all over again, because the healing, like forgiveness, is in stages, and
Yes.
deeper and deeper and deeper as you keep going along. But it is a beautiful process, and I'm so grateful to have be bringing you the show, because when we get these messages from God, it gives us something else to it gives us a new perspective of how to view things versus the way that we've been viewing them all along. And so this to me is just, it's a beautiful way to try to help you connect with your own heart, with divine love, which I call God. And I say that this show is actually, the title and the talking points are given to me by God, because He wants us to have this discussion and have it with you, and that you're part of this discussion. So we love having comments. We love you interacting with us and hearing your thoughts about what God's message is and discussing it with us. So, how about we kind of get into it and
Yeah, let's do it.
get ready for what the topic is? And today it is, in God I can do all things. And he says, what do I mean by this statement? It means many things, such as within our relationship, meaning God and yourself, all problems are transformed by love. You no longer are living your life alone, and you rely on me to reframe every situation that causes you to feel worry or pain. I lead you to higher levels of understanding of why and how your life unfolds as it does. So that's a lot in the first talking point. And what really came to me while I was thinking about it, that the way it starts, it's in God I can do all things versus with God.
Oh, wow. I like that. Yes.
And I thought that maybe that's a place to start, is like in God.
And that is the perfect place to start. And because I think what, after they introduced me, I call God they, because the God I grew up with was very angry, male, had sitting on a throne, and sort of, clutching lightning bolts, waiting to hurl them at me when I did something wrong. And it was just inevitable that I would do something wrong. So, I would tiptoe through my life so God wouldn't hate me. So now that I have an intimate relationship with God, they're mother, father to me. They are everything, but yet they're also part of me. And I think for a while I had them outside. I would go to them in my conversations. And when I was meditating this morning, I just recognized everything has gone from outside to inside. And so yes, I didn't even catch that until you said that. In God, yes. In God, because we are part of God. And that reminds me of I was talking with Archangel Metatron, and sometimes I complain to them if I feel like things are not going as smoothly as I had expected them to. I was just like, holy, things are really, you really ramped it up here with the virus and now the horrible racism and the killings of these people. And I'm just like, what do we need to do to get it right? It's so impossible to do this alone. And their response was, you were never meant to do it alone. This extreme racist behavior, this out of control virus, the economic collapse that's coming as a result. If we don't understand that doing it alone is just going to lead to even more disaster, something else is on its way to us. So jump within that beautiful state of alignment where no matter what's happening in the outside world, you will find that clear space, that beautiful harmonic place in which to live your life or in which to enjoy your life. And that is something that really changed. There was not a whole lot of enjoyable days before. There were endurance days. There were moments, but joy is something that has come from bringing God and convening with God from within. So that's something I would encourage everyone. Move it from out here where you are praying to God as though they are separate from you. Move it to the understanding that yes, God is bigger than you because God is everywhere and in everything. But God is also part of you. And when you connect with that God part through your heart, it changes your world.
It certainly does. It changes in profound ways that you would have never thought if you hadn't had the experience and actually felt what that love is. And I really like what he's saying is you no longer are living your life alone and you rely on me now. You rely on me to reframe every situation that's causing you to feel worry or pain. And that through that, he leads you to higher levels of why your life is unfolding as it is. Rather than leaning on your own knowingness of what you think is happening through your human eyes or senses, or that you allow divine love to reframe everything for you and what is your purpose in all of this, or what should you be doing, or what should you not be doing. um, uh, Something really interesting happened during a meditation with Ruth and Terry. We every Sunday we do a silent meditation, and this might have been back in March when the virus probably just really started ramping up. And we were in this meditation doing guided imagery. We were sending all this love out to the planet and healing light. And so in my meditation, I see the earth is coming closer and closer and closer and closer to me. And as it gets closer and closer, it gets smaller and smaller. So it's about this big
Oh,
when it
wow.
gets, and actually, in the meditation, it goes boop right in my heart. Right in my heart. The whole earth just went boop.
Oh,
And I said,
wow.
okay. And the I was feeling so much heaviness, like I had to send out so much love and healing light to send out to everyone. And then Jesus appeared, and he reaches in my heart, and he takes the planet out, and he puts it in his pocket,
Oh,
and he
wow.
says, Deb, I got this. I got
Oh,
this.
no. Oh, that is so perfect. That is exactly what they are saying to us. I got this. Just learn how to give it to me. And the angels taught me a beautiful exercise. When you get on that hamster wheel, you just can't seem to stop obsessing about something. It's usually my children. That's usually the one thing that I can't seem to let go of. Somebody calls and they have a hangnail and that's it. Now I got to go on the, on the why I should not drive over there and fix it. And so one of the times I was saying, okay, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not doing it very well. So I need help. And an escalator appeared and they said, put it on the escalator. Well, in my world, I don't like to give ugly things. So before I was satisfied, I had a little decorating table. And so I got a box and I put all of this fear about my children. Then I wrapped it in like nice bow. Sometimes I get baskets. I was like, God, this is not nice stuff I'm sending you. So I'd like it to look nice, even though I know you can handle it. I just feel like if I made it pretty, but sometimes, I got to send it off on that escalator again and again and again until I am really ready to release it. And that's what you were saying. We have to be loving to ourselves. Some things you're just ready to release it, and it can just go off and be transformed. It will shower down back upon you as unconditional love, and you'll feel fabulous. Other things are so hardwired into your psyche that you may need to explore it from a lot of different angles before you can really just say, okay, God, I trust you enough to take care of this for me. And as I said, for me, my children who are grown and don't need an overbearing mother, um, are that one little area where I kind of feel like, well, God, I'm not sure I can trust you with this. You might get it wrong.
Right?
So I got to do that one a few times, often, or just get really stern with myself. And it is okay to get stern with yourself and just say, you know what, girl, you gave that away, leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
We have to recognize how powerful we are.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean, once you give something away, once Jesus took that planet out of your heart, you could have grabbed it back and said, oh no, that you could, I have this responsibility. But that would have been out of divine order.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got, once they've given us the opportunity to give away whatever it is, let them keep it.
Mm-hmm.
If they need your help, believe me, they're not shy. They know how to tell you, you got some work to do. But again, now here's another thing I want us all to be aware of. God does not speak as the ego speaks. The ego can often try to trick you into picking up something that you really have no business interfering with. But the ego will be calculating, often angry, pitiful. The ego uses the energy of the lower vibrations, the negative low vibration stuff to try to coerce you or trick you into getting back into bed in that low vibrational space. When God speaks to you, you will feel joyful and this beautiful upsurge of energy, and you'll feel motivated to address whatever it is. So if you're feeling depressed or condemned or criticized or blamed, that's the ego. Just let it go. Just take a deep breath. God, is this from you? God does never gets mad if you ask, are you asking me to clear this, God? Or am I just getting confused here? You can go back 1,000 times. They don't have an ego. They don't get impatient. They don't get angry. You can go back and ask and ask and ask. What you don't want to do is keep asking for the same thing. So if you say, God, please help me with this, you cannot then go back and say, God, why didn't you help me? God, please help me. Then you do your part. Get quiet, get receptive, get willing to listen or receive from them. If you didn't get it, you can say a million times, gosh, I'm just not getting it. God, you have to send it again. But it's so different to say, gosh, God, I didn't get it, or I don't understand the message, or I need more clarification. That is you staying in faith. Doubt is, God, why didn't you answer? And that's the difference. And that has done so much for me as well. You got to get out of the doubt. You are always being answered. That's a guarantee. You may not have heard them. That's the likely, is that you have so much noise going on that you are not hearing them or being receptive. So please ask and ask and ask for them to give you clarity, but please don't insist that they're not doing their part. They were always going to do their part.
Always, always. And those are all great points. And it's funny because we all have our own unique relationship with divine love, with God. And so I was thinking about, so we both gave examples of what it means to get a reframe from God. You were getting an escalator, and I was getting Jesus pulling the earth out of my heart and saying, you can let go of this. I got this. But I've also experienced when I first started to talk to God, uh, and Jesus especially, it would be the ego part of me going in all of this fear and trying to talk with him. And then I would notice, because I would see him, that he would be like like a statue. Like he wouldn't move, he wouldn't be animated. And I would be like, now what's that all about? I'm asking him all these questions because I don't understand what's going on. And he's frozen, right? He's just frozen. He's not moving. And I thought, this is really interesting. And so as I went along, I started realizing that if I went in there as as the fearful ego, I was not getting the response that I typically got because I wasn't asking really from my heart. I was asking out of fear.
Wow.
And then as I went along and this relationship really became very intimate, and there would be times I would get angry and I would go talk to Jesus and ask him, what the heck was that all about? And so I have gone in and gotten answers and so much grace when I am in those moments of, okay, now let's try to calm down and look at this from another perspective. And And so even when I started to go in at times and be very upset, I was always received. And because I was also open to hear. There are times I have gone in to talk to God and I've asked a question, but I wouldn't stick around to hear the answer. I was like, "Oh, can you tell me now? Oh, you didn't do it fast enough, so I'm on my way on to something else now." And so that happens too. I've done all of these things. I have I have been myself. I have been my vulnerable self with God in whatever is going on with me in any moment, and there's always a response there. And and then when I might be having a difficult time, they just show up. I don't even ask, and all of a sudden Jesus is laying in bed with me, or God's sitting by my bedside, and it's like they're there. They're just showing themselves. That love is showing itself to me in the form that I receive, to know that they're there. So we have some comments here, and I thought they would be great to talk about. And Carol Ann said, "In God." She said that reframes thoughts about God that I have had all my life. Looking at in God, not with God.
Yes, that was huge,
Mm-hmm.
really huge. And I want to also speak to that. God shows up for you the way that you will receive it best. And this is something people will say to me often. Well, I want to be able to hear God like you do. And I said, no, you want to use whatever is your most dominant sense. Everybody has a way to communicate. You want to start with the most dominant sense because it will be your easiest link to communicate. So if you see like Deb sees, more power to you. Put your energy into seeing clearly. If you hear them, then put your energy into that. If you feel them, don't imitate someone else or their way of communicating. Instead, use the channel that you were given pre-life. Everybody has come in with a direct access. Nobody has been cut off. You can cut yourself off and so it's a minimal connection. You can never cut yourself off completely, but it can be a small connection. So use your dominant sense. When you get those intuitive reactions, where do you feel them? Do you see them? Do you hear them? Do you feel them in your body? Whatever is your first response is the thing that is best for you to begin. As you get really kind of wrapped up in this and this is becomes fun for you and you have the relationship, all of the senses will expand. But start with your easiest one. Always make it easy. And understand the ego wants it to be difficult and challenging. God wants it to be easy. So if it's really hard, start over. Start over and allow it to be easy because that will take you out of ego territory into heart territory.
Yeah, beautifully said. Wonderful. That's such good advice for people getting started that are just getting into this. Now, Kim says practicing waiting to hear God is so much fun. The responses given on how to handle situations are light years apart. No question. The ego's response is attack or defense, and God takes the response to a whole new level with love and forgiveness. So that's awesome, Kim.
Yeah.
And yeah, and has to reframe everything from a higher perspective that we're not coming up with on our own. And the ego serves a purpose. It's for contrast. It's protected us during our life, thinking that we needed protection, and at times we didn't need protection as a child. But it's always there for contrast. The more that you can start looking at it as it's a teacher and it's part of the experience, you will have a much easier time with it than looking at it as something negative, because all things are God. Everything. You can't separate it. And it's an illusion, but we're dealing with an illusion. And so it's really helpful to look at that in a positive way, that it's a helper in a sense. Now I want to move to the second talking point. Within our relationship, we, meaning God and you, celebrate life together too. Our relationship is not only about sharing burdens, but all your joys. We are co creating together. The more you allow yourself to let me weigh in on all parts of your life and lean on me, on my leadership, the more joyful and easier your life will become.
Amen to that. That was another life changer for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little hesitant to let God in on the ugly parts or the times when I didn't agree with the decision that I was clearly coming down from on high. And as you said, I can go mad, I can go sad, I can go happy, I can go loving. I can just be there as I am. I often go outraged when I am working with a client and they've had such pain. It took me years and years and years of talking with them about, why is this pain allowed? This seems so bad. God, really, why do we have to have this? So the richer experience is always in going as your authentic self, not hiding anything. And it's kind of silly because they can read it anyway. I don't know what I thought I was achieving by, I'm just going to go as my smiley self so God will like me. Yeah, it's like later I was like, well,
So,
okay, that was.
yes. Thinking we can hide from God that He doesn't know that what exactly you're feeling and doing in every moment, because
Right.
one.
But hey, part of the naivete that we all begin with. And, you know, again, that wonderful, fabulous friend, the ego, who pushes us into all of these circumstances that require growth. So now growth is easier because I have a best friend named God who's with me through everything, and I recognize that. But those early days when it was just me, myself, and ego, it was rolling the stone up the hill 24/7. If there was a difficult way to do it, I think I found it. And now I look back and I think, thank you, ego, because I would never have taken the time or devoted with the same kind of commitment to understanding the spiritual journey if life was not such a pile of poop. If everything had been great, the amount of time that I needed to dedicate, the amount of books that I have read, the hours that I have spent, I would have never taken that road. So no, ego is kind of like half the time my best friend because it's pushing me into another place that I have allowed to be substandard.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to be. There, that's the most beautiful thing. I remembered when I was teaching, I always taught the children who didn't do well, they were below grade level, because at the time that I was teaching, I considered myself to be such a failure that I needed them to achieve so much. I mean, it was like I was vicariously living through these kids. If they got it, then I was somehow okay. So for them, I was able to say, no, of course you're brilliant and you've got this and you can do anything. And I could believe it. And because I believed it for them, they were able to believe it for themselves. So I was the bridge for them stepping into their godliness. I couldn't do it for me.
Mhm.
And that's what God did for me and will do for all of us, showing you who you really are
Mhm.
and that you have nothing to be ashamed of, no matter what you've done. I don't care what it is. God still loves you. And all he's waiting for is, and Mother God's here, all they're waiting for is for you to let go of needing to be wrong, bad, stupid, foolish, not enough. You are more than enough. You were, you will be, you are. It's never going to change. It's just waiting for you to get to that place.
Mm. Yeah. To recognize your own self, to recognize yourself. You're created in the image of God,
Yes,
created as God, and you're no different than Jesus was. And to understand that you are perfection right now, regardless of what you think is not right with you or you're not good enough at something. You are divine perfection in every moment. It never changes. It can't. But I really love what God is saying is like, because a lot of times you end up going to God because you're just upset over something. You're distressed.
right.
And He's saying, I want to celebrate your life with you. I also want to experience the joy because sometimes when things are going really well, people forget about God. And what I've experienced is He's got an amazing sense of humor. He
That is so true. Yes, that's
is
the most
so
fun about them.
funny. He says the funniest things. And that was shocking at first. I'm like, well, God has a sense of humor and He's hilarious.
And they are big practical jokers.
Mm-hmm.
If you let them into your life, they will pull stunts. I'm like, really? Now we have to do this? And it's always at a time when I've gotten myself all balled up, usually about technology. And then they just completely blow it out of the water so that I have to recognize what I'm doing and stop it. So, yes, they are very, very, very funny.
They are. I don't know, it was probably at the beginning when I first woke up and everything is so serious. And that's one of the things I had to work on is trying to lighten up, to make my heart lighter, that I stopped taking everything so seriously. And who was it? Michael. Michael shows up in one of my meditations as Miguel. And he's on. And I could tell it's Michael. It looks just like him, but he created an accent and he started singing silly songs to me. I mean, really silly, goofy songs. Uh, and so knowing that there's such a sense of humor to help you lighten up, to celebrate with you in a lightness, in a very light sense of being. Jesus has told me that until you really can be lighthearted, very lighthearted, you really haven't gone as far as you think you have, because it's not taking all of this seriousness on by yourself and thinking that it's yours to fix, because it's not.
Boy, I'm sorry about the leaf blower. Good grief. And that's with a closed window.
I didn't even hear it.
Oh, good, because it's very loud here. I could barely hear you.
Oh, okay. So the next talking point is trusting in my leadership to guide you through an awakened mutual relationship will take the burden off of you to figure out everything on your own. My perspectives eventually will become yours, and this will build your inner strength and confidence to do all things from a heart centered position.
I remember during this long journey, one of the times when I disliked myself the most, I signed up for Bible correspondence classes. And this was pre internet, so that you filled out these little booklets and mailed them back. And I chose the most austere ministries to do this with, so that because it was a way of punishment. It was, I'm so awful. So I'm going to have to do more. I'm going to have to, overdo everything in order to um, get God to like me. And I want God to like me because now my son is young and I want his life to be wonderful. So some of those scriptures float back into my mind from time to time. I understood nothing that was being said at that time. I was just copying. I'm just copied down whatever they told me to copy down, understood nothing. But I remember being so angry at Jesus because I felt like he was incomprehensible. And I would just, stupid idiot, what is he talking about? Why can't he say things that I can understand? So, of course, here he is laughing, always laughing. And he says that scripture about uh, my yoke is light, or the yoke of God is light. I never understood, yoke, I don't get it. Why would I want, just exchanging one burden for another? When you really stop holding on tight to whatever is going on in your life, and you say, okay, God, can you take a look at what I've got going on and tell me where it is that you need me to focus my attention, or what I'm supposed to be doing and what you want to do? It is just like somebody gave you a vacation. It's kind of like, woo, party time at my house. And I have to actually catch myself not running after the hard thing and trying to pick it back up again. Oh, maybe I should do more over here. This thing that I don't want to do or don't like to do and I'm not good at. Then I got to stop and say, and Jesus will be off in the corner just waiting, kind of tapping his foot, like, oh God, how long is it going to take her this time? Now, catch myself like, why am I putting my energy into this thing I don't do well when I have a whole army of helpers that do it better than I do and really need me to do what I do well because I've agreed that that's going to be my work in the world. So, boy, when you partner, first of all, you get the best friend in the world, which is Jesus. I mean, and not religious. This is not, don't just forget it if, about religion. I don't care what religion you are. You can be an atheist. He's your best friend because he is hilarious,
Mhm.
always helpful, and so able to cut through our darkness, our murkiness, our silliness, and show us what's important and what isn't. So I think if I were to start again, I would say, just line up with Jesus. If you can't do anything else, because sometimes the concept of God is too big. And that's what I noticed as I do a lot of channeling with the other energies. And I've said to God, well, why do we need these other helpers if you're everything? And he said, because. they all have their specialties and they enjoy doing them. So I enjoy the enjoyment of them having the delight of getting to help you, and they're growing as well. So as we call on the specialist for whatever it is that we are wanting to learn, we give them the benefit of growing in their godliness, and we get help that we can understand. And that's Jesus is the easiest of all of them. Jesus is probably the easiest, other than Saint Germain. Saint Germain is also very easy to access, but Jesus is just so accessible to all of us. So I think if you're looking for a good starting point, some energy to connect with and to get to know, start with Jesus and stay with Jesus. He doesn't go anywhere. It's he'll grow. Well, you'll grow with him is more true than he'll grow with you. But I mean, you'll allow more and more of him in, and you'll understand more as you grow in your relationship.
It's beautiful. It's Jesus, and it's funny because when Jesus first came to me, I didn't know how to receive him because I was Jewish, and everything I know about Jesus came from whatever understanding I had of Christianity, and it just I could not get it to work in my brain, and I didn't know how to just accept that. I kept asking, why? What? I don't understand. Why is it Jesus that showed up here? Which, today I'm so grateful for. And so
Oh,
sometimes people have, uh, if they have not had any kind of understanding coming from another religion, Jesus might be hard to understand. And it took God explaining to me because I didn't know how to. It's funny, we still want to categorize and label things, even in spirituality. And I didn't know how to describe my relationship other than it was just pure love and joy to be with Jesus. And it feels that energy, even though it's all God. I look at all the energies out there that you can't separate energy. It is all God showing up in different forms for you, for whatever you connect with, and creating a support team for you to have a team to work with. And every single part that shows up is you, because you can't separate that either. So Jesus is you, Michael's you. There is no separation. It is God showing up in all of these forms to make life magical, to show you how much support is there for you. And it is magical when you start to understand what you're given and who you are, and that there's only oneness. And it's an amazing journey. so, so you're connecting with divine love, consciousness, whatever you want to call it.
right.
It's all the same. Divine love is consciousness. Consciousness is divine love. It's God to me. Uh, it is infinite creativity. It's imagination, and everything that's going on is within your imagination. So when you can recognize that all you are is consciousness, and everything you see outside of you is part of you, because it's only consciousness that exists, and that the only thing that it is love. It is beautiful, and you want to connect with it in any way that you can. And there's, as you go along in the journey, what you start to understand that there's different levels of depth of your spiritual understanding and relationship. and that you're always deepening your relationship into oneness. So, because I would ask God, like, the same thing. Why do I don't, I'm not, I'm spending time with God or Jesus, and why do I have to spend time with all of these other gifts that I've been given of angelic form and John the Baptist and uh, goddess and he said, well, that's your team. Those are your helpers. That's your team. But they're all aspects of yourself. But as you go deeper into your relationship, you recognize that all there is oneness. There is, and so to keep developing that relationship with divine love is the most amazing thing that you could ever do. And relying on that energy and letting it coach you, lead you, guide you, love you, heal you, transform you, it the strength and confidence is amazing what starts to happen because you're trusting. And that is the biggest part of this, is just trusting that there's a plan for you and that God is good, that God is good, um, and has an amazing plan and wants a mutual relationship with you, wants to do it together. I call it a holy communion of mutual adoration and love with between the two of you. And to recognize that you're really only having a relationship with yourself because you are that in God. In God, you can't be anywhere else. You're in consciousness. We have some more people. Oh, we have Myers on with us and says, thank you so much for this glorious, illuminating, and uplifting conversation, reminding me of so many core gratitudes I have for my relationship with the non-physical. You both make me just want to go deeper and deeper with them. Way to break it down, onward, upward, inward.
Oh,
Awesome.
I love that.
Thank you. Thank you, Myers. And it's great to have you here. I haven't seen you in so long. And Michelle Landers is on. She said, I do love how you explain our oneness step. This is a relationship of really understanding who you are, that you are everything, that you are love, and that is it. So the last talking point is, it is my greatest joy to live in relationship with you, knowing that you are aware of my presence at all times, knowing that I am within you as you, loving you, and bringing you back to whom you were truly created to be, love.
I think the most wonderful thing about being in this relationship is the love. It it truly surpasses words. I tell people, invite the energy of Jesus within you. It will be centered in that heart, energetic heart space. And it feels like the most beautiful symphony you will ever hear. And you will probably begin to weep because you won't be able to contain that amount of love. That is just that, and knowing that God desires you is the most fabulous thing that I can ever share with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that was for the longest time. Gosh, God, why would you allow me to have this opportunity? I couldn't fathom that. you know, what in the heck? Why would you want me? God wants everyone. Well, because we are all one, none of us are excluded in any way. And they're just waiting for us to get ready to participate.
Mhm.
It's not even a choice. It's not, I thought it was, oh, God's choosing me because I finally got good enough. No, I finally got receptive enough to understand that they have been here with me all this time. And that's the other thing I wanted to share is don't get uh, latched onto one being. God is always with you. But I find that if I allow myself to receive information from all of them in whatever, whomever is best, they have different ways of explaining things and different feelings and different strengths. So if I'm not getting something really clearly, it could be because I'm asking Jesus to do what Archangel Michael is better suited to do or to explain or to share. So that's one of the things when people work with me, I they will share with me something that is bothering them. And then I go to the energetic realm and I don't say, okay, I want Jesus and Mother Mary and Mother God and Archangel Raphael to solve this. I say to them, who's best to answer this issue or to explain to them what it is that or why it is so that this can be cleared. And that has been given me again another layer of freedom. I don't have to worry that I'm going to get the choose the wrong helpers. They just come to me. So I really want to encourage everyone to stay open. Don't get caught in, oh, I can only work with Jesus or I can only, just be open to whomever wants to communicate with you. And they all do. And they all will. And I've even noticed they have different syntax. You can tell by the tone of voice, by the feeling, by sometimes imagery. I don't have that same gift that you do, sadly, but the being able to see them. But uh, they will use different vocabulary, different phrasing, different tones. Even though it's my voice that I'm hearing, I know who is talking before they identify themselves because of their choice of presentation. So they very much have their own personalities too within their godness. And so it's much more fun when you open to all of them and don't try to keep yourself on a narrow road.
Those are such great awarenesses to share with people. And if you look at yourself as unlimited, you're seeing yourself in all these unlimited aspects of yourself, of what you can be as creation. It's just so beautiful.
It's fun. It's so fun. And I keep going to God, why do you have all these helpers? Shouldn't I just go right to you? And they're like, sometimes you do. Other times, Archangel Ariel has this laser focus, and she is so able to give you the energetic input that you need in order to get clarity on this issue that it's much better than trying to absorb all of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, God is perfect and sees us as perfect. And actually, that was one of the things when Mother God and I were first exploring together. I had so many questions. And I just said, oh, will I ever be perfect? And she is the embodiment of love. And of course, she came back and said, you already are perfect. Each one of you are perfect. You're perfect for where you were, where you are, and for where you're going. What you are not yet is complete. You are on a journey to completion to be as we are. meaning God is, and yet you are perfect in whatever moment in which you are existing. So just allow yourself to accept that perfection and know that you're not yet complete and you may never get to be complete. I haven't yet to meet a person that says, "Well, I'm done." Well, I think I went as became as godly as I can be. So I don't know if completion is possible, but I'm sure going to try.
Yeah, I think it's really accepting your wholeness now as you are, exactly how you are. And when you can start seeing your wholeness, then you can rest in that and just allow God to keep transforming you as He sees fit rather than what you see fit.
Yes,
Each person's going to have their very own experience with divine love. And so it is important for you to explore what your relationship looks like, because it doesn't, and it won't look like mine, and it won't look like anybody else's. You have your own way of what's going on with you and what is being presented to you, and you have your own curriculum. So for me, I spend more time with God. I spend almost all my time with God. And I miss Jesus, even though I know he's right there. I don't interact as much. He comes in and out and in and out. But where I am right now, I am spending all my time 95% with God, because that's where I feel like I need to be. And, and that's my journey. So so it's really important for everyone to keep remembering you have your own individual script, your individual classwork, curriculum, whatever you want to call it, and that you are going to be divinely guided into that, what is perfect for you. And so it doesn't have to look like other people's, and you can't compare yourself to other people, because you are perfect in your own individual way that you are meant to be here. So, believe it or not, we ran out of time.
oh wow. I just want to say one last thing is that it will change. And so I think when I started, I wanted it everything, it was just perfect. Oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. I wanted it never to change. It will change. Allow them to come to you as you need them and to be what will be for your highest good.
Beautifully said. Very important. It's just being open and receptive to allow that love to just encompass all of you,
Right.
and
Back to trust. Yeah.
trust and help you remember who you truly are. So, Marcia, can you please tell people how to get in touch with you?
Oh, absolutely. I spend so much time talking with all of these energies and I do a lot of channeling. So if you really want to look more deeply into the spiritual world and you feel like you need help, join me on my website. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, and it's Marcia, Marcia. So it's marciamartinthehearthealer.com or mmhearthealer.com. And there are blogs that if you would enjoy reading what they have said, or I have a YouTube channel, the same name, and that's where I read to you the message that and talk about who they are and their individual personalities and the lesson that they may want to be sharing with you. Because, as we move through the world, we are experiencing different things. And so we're going to have different help for different times. So join me on my website. I have a lovely community where I share the tools that they have given me. And these tools, just like the escalator, have changed my life, made it so easy to operate in a world that had once been exceedingly overwhelming. Or you can choose to work with me personally. So it's really whatever feels best to your heart, whatever will guide you and lead you to your highest good.
Thank you, Marcia. And you can catch Marcia, her audio podcast on Angel Heart Radio too.
Yes, and please call in because that's your opportunity to talk with the angels and ask them a question. And as always, it is by when I say angels, for me, it's the entire energetic realm. But whomever is most suited to answer your question will come forward and lead you through your particular forest out into that beautiful landscape of love, which is where they live.
Thank you, Marcia. It's been a joy having you here with us today. So thank you. Thank you so much for discussing God's topic of the day. I appreciate it.
Oh, I love sharing. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'm still running master classes. And if anybody's interested, Saturday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing another class, and it's understanding your chain reactions from thought to feeling to action that keep you from feeling fulfilled and whole. And so, if you would like to join me, you can sign up at enlightenedworld.online and you can register there. And in the meantime, I am wishing every single one of you an absolutely beautiful day. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, knowing that we are all one love, protected and held in divine order by our Creator. Go out this day in this awareness and allow God's peace and joy to occupy every single thought. Lead with your heart and welcome everyone home, for all are loved. God bless you. Bye bye.